All right, guys. I hope you guys have been enjoying part two of Men in Black. As you can tell, I'm just gonna read a couple of experiences from witnesses. The credit to the information that I'm gonna read you guys should have flashed before you hear me now on the screen. So let's just jump right in here and get started. This is basically about Dr. Hopkins. He was a working consultant for a high-profile UFO abduction case when he received a phone call from a man that said that he experienced a strange or a wild encounter. So he talked to the man on the phone. The man asked for him basically to come over. He agreed. And before he can leave his home, says that a man in black showed up at his door. The man was very pale skinned, strange features, and wore a stereotypical, jumpsuit, the black suit. It says that Hopkins couldn't even tell him to stop, go away, or even shut his door, let alone stop the intrusion, because the man came inside. He interrogated him about the last case that he was on. Eventually, Hopkins was asked to pull out a coin. This coin that Hopkins pulled out was tied to the abduction of Barney and Betty Hill, and I really, really suggest, if nobody knows anything about this case, please look this up. I mean, this is something that sparked me as a child, seeing it on Unsolved Mysteries. But so basically, talks about, Barney Hill dying. Hopkins wasn't aware of the death, but wasn't entirely sure as to why Barney had died. I think he was saying basically he didn't know why he had died. He probably thought that Mr. Hopkins knew why he died. So the strange individual asked Mr. Hopkins to pull out the coin. He pulls out the coin. The coin supposedly, allegedly, turns to a silver color. Then it fades out of existence before his eyes. The MIB explained that the coin would never be seen on this plane. And from what I'm getting from that, it's basically still here. It's just that we're not be able to see it in our reality. Like, it's still here. It's just not in our reality or in our space and time. So it talks about how the coin faded and all that. And then it says the man in black suggested that Mr. Hopkins deletes all his information on the latest abduction case, seeing as it may not be good for his health to talk about it. So basically he's telling him, dude, if you don't, delete this, get rid of this information, get a new hobby, silence yourself, obey, then hey, you may not be all right. They can create anything. I am done with that. So, this right here is very interesting. This is a different case. So, we're done with Dr. Hopkins. This is called They Floated About a Foot Off the Floor. So it says one of the earliest records of an alien experience with real MIBs happened to a UFO enthusiast called Dr. Bender. Alfred Bender. So it says Mr. Bender was basically poking around in the phenomenon, which most of us are doing to this day, in the 1950s when he was visited by 3 MIBs. The first account of him encountering these MIBs is found in a book called They Knew Too Much About Flying Saucers. And basically in this book it describes some emotionless people, basically described as robots who demanded him to stop discussing the paranormal. They were basically soulless, just unhuman. Like, people always say when you encounter these MIBs, allegedly, they are like unhuman, like it's, you can just sense like they're just not of us. So talks about the book Flying Saucers, the 3 Men. Here's a quote right here that I thought was very interesting. That's why I wanted to read this to you guys. He says they floated about a foot off the floor. They looked like clergymen, but wore hats similar to Homburg style. The eyes of all 3 figures suddenly lit up like flashlight bulbs. They seemed to burn into my very soul as the pains above my eyes became almost unbearable. Alfred Bender, end quote. So what I'm getting from this is that they were tapping into his mind. We say the eyes are the window to the soul. I believe in that. There's a lot of traditions that believe in that and have evidence to back that up. Also, sometimes you just have to go off on faith. I just don't see how people can believe in one thing but not another. To where I believe in God even though I can't see him, but I believe, I have faith. So why can't you believe in some of the things I'm talking about right now, or the things that's on my channel? Like, anyways. But yeah, so I just felt like they were probably tapping into his mind, like trying to read his mind, like either erase it or whatever it was. He knew, he could feel it, and he knew what they were doing. And of course it says it's uncertain if he was telling the truth. Like I said, this is all alleged. But, I just thought this was, very interesting, because the people that were very close to Mr. Bender said that he was a very changed man, basically traumatized after the encounter with the MIB. There's another one that I want to check out. It's pretty short, I believe. I'm sorry, guys. Give me a second. Should have split this, but I'm just doing this in real time. This is just to show you that you can go look this stuff up yourselves. You can laugh at it as you read it, or you can take it serious and actually look at the information, of what's going on. I may have passed it. It was, okay, basically, I've already read it. So, basically, it's about this man that worked on an Air Force base. He's a Navy, Navy person. And he was going home, and he basically seen a silvery, I think it's silver cigar or round shaped disc, excuse me. I'm not sure on that, but basically he seen it, it landed, and 3 small humanoids came out. He was, kind of thrown off from the experience, so he pulled his weapon and he shot, and he said that he wounded one of them, and he said after that he just struck off running. Basically when he got home, he didn't say anything to anybody. He goes to work on the Air Force the next day, and he was visited by a trio of MIBs that asked, questioned him about what he had seen that night. So my thing is, regardless if you believe this stuff or not, if it was to happen to you and you seen something, like something major, and you are approached by these MIBs, I would hope that you would want somebody to believe you. So just do your research, guys. Open your minds, open your eyes, and just, there's facts out there. Yes, there's fiction and fact, and there's fact and fiction, but something always comes from somewhere. That's really all I have to say. And I'm going to end this with, do not obey. Please stay woke.